His religious parents forbade him to associate with women, and he took revenge for all the lost years.
There's better ways to find out about girls than dating. I've never been on a date.
I think that dating has physical dangers like pregnancy. It's not worth it.
His life, full of prayers and restrictions, was filmed in a famous TV show.
Praise the Lord, for he is high.
However, 12 years later, Jacob Stockdale bloodily exploded before such radical parenting.
I am also going to be filing the not guilty by reason of insanity plea.
2 bodies were stretched out on the floor and blood was everywhere. The scene was utterly horrific, and the faces seemed familiar to the policemen.
After the gunshot went off, they tactically approached the house. Some backup arrived and discovered that the suspect, Jacob Stockdale, had attempted suicide and shot himself.
The Stockdales were a well-known Ohio family. Their particular way of life had been televised years before, so the bloodthirsty crime scene seemed familiar to officers.
They also discovered 2 victims in the home, 54-year-old Catherine Barbara Stockdale and 21-year-old James William Stockdale.
Both Catherine and Tim completely controlled their children's lives. They imposed their faith in God on them and forbade them from associating with women, so everything in the family seemed like a ticking time bomb.
I've never been on a date. There's better ways to find out about girls than dating.
I have not kissed a girl in a romantic way.
It wasn't shyness or unwillingness, it was an imposition.
I think that dating has physical dangers like pregnancy. It's not worth it.
That upbringing forever scarred young Jacob, and that's why no one was surprised when the lawyer prepared this crucial petition.
Having had a chance to review the previous report issued by Psychodiagnostic, I am also going to be filing the not guilty by reason of insanity plea and ask the court to order the appropriate evaluations for that plea.
The regime he was raised with throughout his childhood somehow distorted Jacob's life forever. This can lead one to understand his motivation for carrying out the horrible crime. Of course, he didn't kill his father for the sole reason that he wasn't at home. So his only 2 victims were his mother and his younger brother. The case generated a stir in the United States. Although several years had already passed since the program was aired, the memory of that particular family still lingered.
That's a young lady's shirt in a young man's room. I don't get it.
For many people, it was very surprising how in this era, people could still exist with an upbringing like that. In fact, the way in which Catherine and Tim raised their children was very shocking because it was very far from being normal.
The boys collect tokens by doing chores to exchange for things that they want.
You know, this is like they're slaves.
This and other factors came into play in the trial for the double homicide committed by Jacob Stockdale. The jury felt it was important to take this into account, since it could be transcendental information to define the young man's sentence. However, the psychological report requested by his lawyer would completely change the course of the trial.
It's her opinion, based on a reasonable psychological certainty, that you are not suffering from a severe mental defect at this time of the charge.
Although the motivation for the murders is still unclear, the mother of the other family who participated in the program has no doubts. God gave us free will, and they didn't get free will. They weren't allowed to make decisions. The statement after the deaths wasn't far off from the thoughts she had during the days she had to live with the family.
These poor boys, they have no fun in their life, and that upset me tremendously.
Our fun is directed.
We are setting a standard for our kids. That's one area that I would suggest that you would consider changing. The standard at your house is just about no standard.
As for the sentence, Stockdale was given 15 years for each of the murders, meaning he'll serve 3 decades in prison.